Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Five on Friday. Apologies for being away last week. Kind of remember where I was. It was a bit of a weird week, but really glad to be back with Kate and Costas. Kate and Costas, how are you both?
All good, cheers.
Good
We missed you
stuff.
greatly. We missed
Thanks,
you,
man.
Alex.
I miss you too, mate. Miss you too. All right, cool. So look, this week we have Harry Hindess from Sales Screen. Harry, thanks for coming on, man. How are you doing?
You're welcome. I'm really well. Thanks, guys. Great to be here. Like you say, I work with Sales Screen, sales development representative here for 7 months now. After a year stint as a landscape gardener, and prior to that, working for an insurance brokerage for 4 years. So it's been a great journey, and yeah,
Nice one.
I should probably mention what we do for marketing purposes. We sell a sales gamification platform, basically to help recognize salespeople, update the old-fashioned systems for sharing targets and competitions and things like that.
Okay, nice. Brilliant. Well, look, Harry, that's a great intro, man. What do you really want to get out of this session? Are there certain areas of weakness you want to focus on? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So basically we work on like a 3-pronged approach. We use phone calls, LinkedIn, and emails. So I had some really great success and still do with LinkedIn, and I've been working on my email outreach. And what I'm finding a point where I'm trying lots of different things is actually the call to action, and basically generating more responses, be that yes, no, or any kind of response. So I'm hoping to learn from you guys a good way of getting people to interact from those emails. And then secondly, with our sort of platform, although we know the return on investment and how important it can be for like the actual salesperson using this type of tool, it's not always easy to convince someone in a buying position that this is actually a need to have rather than a nice to have. So some sort of help in maybe my questioning on how I try and extract pain points that we can sell this on, basically.
Great. Okay. So email seems to be a big focus, given you've been very strong on LinkedIn and phone in the past. So let's dive into one of those. And if we have time, we might be able to help you with that other problem with how do you articulate the urgency for someone to even investigate something like this, right? That's part of the hard part, break through that invisible barrier. Okay. Well, Kate and Costas, what do you reckon? Should we get one of these emails up first and take a look at it?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Brilliant. Okay, Harry. So whilst we're sort of looking at this, how do you approach your target audience list when you're sort of creating emails, your personas? Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what your approach is? What are you looking for?
Yeah, of course. So as like a target company, it's going to be a company with a sales team sort of over 20, 30 plus, including, you know, outreach, inside sales development representatives, account managers, etc. And industry wise, we know we work really well with software companies. They're used to using this type of tech, so that works well. But when it comes down to the actual person themselves, I'm often looking for people who have responsibility for the revenue team, you know, driving particular behaviors to meet their targets. So that can be, you know, head of sales, sales directors, chief sales officers, CEOs, COOs, basically.
Interesting. Okay, so revenue leaders.
Yeah.
What are those challenges that you can articulate to us that you think resonate with your personas at the moment?
So I think, especially at the moment, it's being able to make sure the people on the front line are being recognized and being celebrated for their successes, to basically prevent people feeling disengaged from like so what I mean by that is, like, in an office environment, you can share successes, you can see the whiteboard. When a sale's made, you can tell your neighbor in the office, I've made a sale. And the problem there is that if you have disengaged employees, it can be hard to motivate them. And where we come in is we provide a system that shares that as it happens around the organization. If your sales development representative books a meeting with a company, everyone in the organization is going to see it as it happens. So I guess mainly it's in that position, it's looking at how are you going to adapt going forward with creating a sales floor atmosphere with your sales team.
Great. Okay, I think it's really good background. How about so Kate, were you about to ask a question?
Yeah, I might be digging in a little bit too early here, but you mentioned something there. You sort of talked about the benefits, but you talked about the challenge it solves around disengaged employees and disengaged salespeople.
Yeah.
And I'm just wanting to peel a little bit back from that and go a bit deeper and say, what's the problem with disengaged employees? Why is that a challenge?
So you have, for instance, you may have top performers doing really well, and then you have people that aren't doing so well. They feel disengaged, which can have an impact on their output. It can have an impact on their well-being, their happiness, and therefore, it could result in higher turnover if you don't have these systems in place to engage and create this community that's going to foster, a healthy culture, people interacting and being happy at work.
And yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah. But I'm just
okay.
gonna keep going on this journey. Okay. Guys, just interrupt me if you think I'm going to run over here. But so if a disengaged employee causes a high turnover,
yeah,
where does that take us? So what challenges if somebody leaves because they're not engaged? What problem do you think that would cause me as a revenue leader?
So as a revenue leader, you would have invested in first of all, hiring this person, training them. So you're going to be losing out on that investment you've made in this person.
Mm-hmm. And what else? What in terms of the fact that they were filling a gap one way or another, they were generating something for me. Yeah. And without them there, what does that leave me with?
So you're going to have to recruit someone else potentially to fill that gap. And we're all humans, right? So if someone is not happy at work and they leave, then this is going to generate a knock-on effect possibly, with other employees. Yeah. So I mean, this is one angle I go for. Another angle, just to move. Actually, let's carry on. Sorry,
I'm just going to go down. I'm just going to keep going down this avenue because there's so much gold dust here.
Okay, yeah, awesome, yeah.
So let's explore the fact that they've left a bit of a bad taste in other people's mouths. But I, as a revenue leader, I'm having to go and recruit. You've highlighted that. But in the meantime, I've got this gap. Do I get a reduction in my quota because I've got a gap?
You'd hope so, because otherwise there'd be no need for you to have someone fill in that gap. So yeah, of course you would, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get a reduction in my quota, but I'm certainly going to get a reduction in my ability to hit that quota.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we're now getting into the pain that I'm actually really feeling.
Yeah.
Which is, I've got a hole to fill. It's an expensive hole to fill. It's going to take me time. I've got to ramp that person. Even when I do recruit them, I've got to ramp them quickly, so they're still not performing. So let's say I've got a month of recruitment, then 2 months to get that person ramped up to even a basic performance level.
Yeah.
So I've got a 3-month period where I'm not being covered for that quota. So I've got to dish it out elsewhere or try to make it up elsewhere. A lot of my time's taken up with recruitment, so that's expensive, not least of which the recruitment fees. So just from that, by going down and not letting go of that train, you're branching off and creating pain for me.
Yeah. I like the way you've made it into, Alex touches on this on other webinars, the story of that pain, I guess, isn't it? First, you've got an unengaged employee. They're not going to perform as well as you hope. Then you've got an unhappy salesperson. We're salespeople. We all want to be winning regularly. They're not winning. They're going to turn their head and look elsewhere. Then you lose someone in your team. Then you're not going to hit your quota. Then you're going to have to spend money on employing again. Yeah, that's really cool.
What Kate's done there is, as she mentioned, is like peeling back the layers.
Yeah.
Going to the real heart of the problem. And what I think we're trying to do here is get you to really step into the shoes of a revenue leader, walk a mile in them, feel the pain, right? That's what you need to be putting into your prospecting in general. It's not really just about we help businesses solve the problem of like disengagement within your sales workforce in a remote environment. It's like, if that happens, it's going to take you time, it's going to cost money, there's going to be a knock-on effect, your quota is not going to change, and therefore you're going to end up in a really sticky situation. And so that's the problem you solve, really, and you've got to really pinpoint that and back those statements. And the opportunity now in this day and age is we have tools where we can do that via LinkedIn, we can do it via phone, we can do it via email, and we can have it progressively. You don't need to get all of those pain statements in one place in one go. You build the narrative into small chunks, and you tell that progressive narrative.
Sorry,
go on, Costas. Yep.
Harry, how has your proposition changed since 7 months or what? January you started?
Yeah.
So how is your proposition different to now to what it was in January and February?
It's changed. It's changed
How?
to target the new problem of having people not in the office.
Okay.
Originally, the main point I was selling this on was the old-fashioned technology, the time it takes for managers to share targets and results with their teams, even in the office with a whiteboard, let's say. And how can we make that more fun and engaging for the team? And now it's changed, like you say. It's a great question, and it's a huge shift we made as a company to make sure our platform is one of the top performers for remote teams, because that's what is needed now. You know, the message is, of course, now how can you create that sales floor buzz when you're at home?
Because that is a problem.
Yeah.
But I think that where Kate was going with it, it's a great way to go down, but I think it's slightly further down the discovery.
Yeah.
What you just said, what resonates with all of us is that there's no sales floor anymore. There's no buzz. There's literally no camaraderie. There's nothing like that. So the approach is like, this is a problem that a lot of people, if I manage 4 people, I have no problem. We can all be on a screen. We can do like power out, you know, on a screen. If I have 20 people, if I have 30 people, it's problematic. If I have people spread across the world, different time zones or whatever, how do I create that unity? Because what happens now is that there's money out there, but it's bloody difficult to get that money. So you need a very motivated team, a team that operates still as a unit like they used to operate in January, to go and get that money that is 3 times as difficult to get that money. So you want to actually make them feel as a team, be incentivized, knowing success. Success has to be immediate. Like back in the office, I got a deal and you have like people clapping, you're on the phone, you're trying to cover yourself because people could hear that. That's all lost. And I know that, you know, purists of sales will say, well, what is the problem? Well, sometimes it doesn't have to be a problem. Sometimes you're talking about this is the reality, and I improve that reality for you, and I make it easier for you to do your job, which is my job, is to motivate people, to have motivated people, engaged people, so I can hit my target. My target is not my job. My job is through these people. And I've got one more question because I don't want to take time. Alex hates it when I take the limelight. Help me out. So you're targeting people that run business departments of 20, 30 individuals, right?
Preferably more.
Preferably more, exactly. Now, who are you targeting from those departments?
It's a great question.
The revenue leader, right?
Yeah, so revenue leader, but yes, revenue leader, and we're trying to speak with those who obviously have buying power, right? That's something. But when okay, so head of sales.
Yeah.
As a champion, we want to find that sales champion, because they understand, like, you know, you've just shown the passion you have as a sales leader for this motivating your team, right? So there's someone like yourself who's leading a team. That's the person we want to be bringing this in onto the table to the CEO, to the board members, right? But also, if we can, by a lot of time, you'll find the chief revenue officer has also been a head of sales, along with others in the business. So that works as well.
Can I just, and again, I don't know if it's going to work for you, but
yeah,
I personally think that you should start targeting people below these guys.
okay.
Again, you just need to create a buzz.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better, and I do not know your timelines, your time scales, how, you know, if you need a month to sell 2 weeks. But I think you should start creating a buzz about your solution.
Yeah.
Because if 10 of my guys start talking about, I may not know that I have a problem. I'm one guy, I report upwards, I'm remotely. Start creating that buzz. I would definitely suggest managers, just to understand what your proposition is, what you can do. Senior execs, that they, especially execs that do very well, if you could have that information, for example. But I would suggest that you start targeting people below that. So you create what you're trying to find the tribesmen, people that will actually help you with your proposition, because it's more about understanding what is happening in the sales floor.
Yeah.
And sometimes people that the head of whatever CRO maybe don't have an idea of what's happening in the sales floor. But that's me done.
I think Costas is right, and I think I'm slightly outside of your ideal customer profile, but I've got 22 sales reps, right, who I work with, and the moment that they bring me stuff, when more than one of them brings me something and says we need to be doing it, it's really hard to ignore. And it ties into what you were saying with the remote working environment. My job is to keep them all motivated, to keep them, you know, energized and wanting to get up in the morning and do their job. And when someone brings me something saying, hey, we should be looking into this, I'm like, no, it's okay, we've got plenty of stuff. And someone else brings me the same thing, even if it's you know, someone in the BDR team, and two of them are saying the same thing, makes it really difficult for me to say no. So what I'd love to look into, Harry, is that email and how you actually go about that. Do you change your emails based on persona at all, or is it usually the same kind of email?
So I'll tell you about my current strategy, and it does pick on some of what Costas has said there. So I use a platform to do this. I have one sequence for decision makers, which would be head of sales, as I mentioned just now, CRO, COO, for instance. That will be heavily personalized on the first email, and continually, you know, I say heavily personalized, I'll pick bits out of their LinkedIn profile. I'll talk about how big their sales team is. I'll talk, you know, the normal stuff. And then I have another sequence for people who are not in that position. And this is something I've only just started doing, actually. And I have seen some cool results, because I've managed to connect with some team leaders on LinkedIn. I've sent them a quick video. Oh, I'd love to learn more about how you're motivating your team. And they're telling me, I've got one example. She said, okay, and these people love their job, right? So they're happy to share this. It's cool. You know, she said, okay, we have a one-to-one every month. We have stand-ups every day as a team. We have one every Friday where we go over successes in the week, and automatically you're building up this, you know, I can see inside their sales team or customer service team. And then what I want to do is use that information to then go to the decision makers, I guess.
Love it. Love it, man. That's smart move. Cool. Well, let's take a look into what the email says and how you approach that.
Yeah, let me just do this. So,
cool. Okay. Do you want to read this out to us, Harry?
Yeah, sure. Subject line, I put "do results lie?" ? It's a bit of a lazy attempt, I think, but I would sometimes personalize this and say something like "time to gamify Alex?" ? Or something like this. So, Alex, you're leading and empowering a team of approximately 600 direct and indirect staff. Others I speak to are focusing on building their pipeline right now. Prospecting can, however, be a painful task. We ran a blitz day to focus the whole company whilst remote on one goal, creating more qualified leads. You have a photo here of the amount of leads we qualified in a month compared to that one day we ran the blitz. And then I just put, would you be opposed to learning more about how we achieved these results?
Nice. Okay. Brilliant, mate. Well, I think Talk to me about those first three words. Do results lie? Particularly all lowercase. Is that intentional?
It is, yeah. I'm one of the I listen to loads of stuff. You know, I'm one of these person who just like watches all these webinars and picks little things out of these things, and that's something that someone has said, and I've used it. I don't know what you think. It's great to get your guys' view on it, though. You might think it's horrible. So.
I mean, I don't mind it too much. I was just trying to work out if it is intentional. I know that if you use lowercase, then it seems to stand out because it's abnormal, and that's what you actually want to see in a subject line. You've done the right thing by having it under 5 words. Sorry. Questions can work as well, but like, do results lie? I'm not sure if I would get it straight away in terms of the problem you've articulated to me. Are your SDRs tired, or are your SDRs underwhelmed? Something like that would be like, okay, or something that really ties into that problem you've articulated. I'm not sure do results lie matches what you said to us before in terms of the pain of that exercise you went through with Kate, and that's why that exercise was done. I don't know what you feel about that, Harry.
Yeah, I agree. I think from my point of view, it's kind of like, I think we've got the best tool in the world. I'm going to show you what it can do. But obviously, this person receiving this email they're not going to understand that. So, but what you said is definitely much better at like hitting the personal pain point of like, oh, what, my team could be disengaged. So yeah, I do like that a lot.
And I think you said a few things there, right? I think we have the best platform in the world, right? That means zero to me right now because it's about my problem. And then when you flip it onto your prospect and you make it about them and the potential problem that they need to solve as a persona, that's where you might get a bit more traction there. And then look, I think I quite like the first line actually, and I always talk about the mobile test. You need to be able to, on a mobile phone, be able to just quickly go through your whatever host you're going through, and she'll say that the first line, it's usually about 7 words. So you are leading and empowering a team of approximately 600 direct and indirect staff. It's fine, I think, but I think you need to cut to that problem a bit sooner, really. Or have something a bit more personalized to me. So Reach Desk looks like it's growing fast or something like that. That's going to be something that is going to be about me. Whereas that can come across, what you got here is quite generic. You are leading and empowering a team of approximately, and actually on the mobile rule, because bear in mind, 80% of our emails are now read on a mobile, that might appear as generic, and you want to get that first line hooked in. I actually quite like a lot of this. The best thing I think is the open call to action as the first email. I'm always like, is this of interest to you? What I hate is, can I get 15 minutes in your diary to discuss this? Just get rid of that for anyone who is watching. So I think there's some really good bits in there. I do like the screenshots, but what I do know is images can mean the deliverability of your emails can go down and they can go into spam filters a lot quicker. So just be very, very wary of that, right?
Yeah.
So those are my main 3 points really, is like try and tie the subject line and the first line of the email into something that's either like a pain that prospect is likely to be facing and something that's really personalized to them. The number of direct and indirect staff might come a bit too late in terms of where I might see that.
Okay.
Costas and Kate, have you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like the short and sweetness of it. I'm just not finding the connectivity between everything that you talked about. That first name, you are leading an impact, that's just a statement about me. And then you're saying others I speak to are focusing on building their pipeline. Well, I'm also focused on that. But we've not got to the pain. It's just saying that can be a painful task. And everything you talked about with such passion around engagement and motivation and lack of engagement and the risk of people leaving and remote teams, people coming back off furlough right now into a world where they're working remotely and trying to get back into a rhythm that they were when they've been on furlough for 5 months. All of those things that I'm kind of buzzing around in my head doesn't connect with the fact that are you selling me something that can track qualified leads? Are you selling me a service as to how you do that? Are you selling it? There's just a lack of a weaved connectivity for me. you know, I may be being a little harsh there, but I just think you actually have a really, I think right now more than ever, quite a powerful message and quite a powerful pain point. But just there's no specificity on prospecting can be a painful task. It's what you know what specifically is driving that. So you know, to reflect what Alex said, it's very much, you know, get in there straight away. And I'm not a fan of saying you are leading and empowering a team of 600. It just feels like why are you telling me? I know I know that. So you're kind of wasting a lot of words there telling me something I already know. What we need to get to is, what is it about leading a team of approximately 600 direct and indirect staff that's causing me pain right now? Not just stating that as a fact to me.
I think
a team of your size, XYZ is probably causing you a bit of pain right now.
For sure. I think all your comments are 100% correct. This, without trying to defend myself, this would be a few emails in, so whether or not that matters, it probably doesn't. They may not have looked at the other emails anyway, but you'd hope that they would have some recollection. But I when it comes to like having this first personalized line, I think, and I'm embarrassed by this one now, it's a bit lazy, this email, but it's basically like, I know that, and this hopefully to any other SDRs watching this, 90% of people doing my job aren't even doing this. They're not even taking the time to do this. So it's basically just a way of trying to show them I am actually doing some research.
It's brilliant.
It's
brilliant, Harry. All you need to do is tip it from being just a situational question or situational fact into a problem.
I
so
agree.
what thing is what is it about that 600 direct and indirect staff is causing me pain, not just the fact that I've got them.
I completely agree. I'll definitely take that on board for sure.
I mean, I agree with everything that's been said, Harry. Don't feel bad about the email, because that's the whole idea of actually having some external influence into how you go about your job. You know what I would really do if I was you? Because I think the biggest problem you have is to convince me that sales gamification or target gamification, however you want to name it, today in this environment is a must-have rather than a nice-to-have, which could have been in January. And I would lead with that. I would go by saying, again, Ivan, 3 seconds, sales gamification is no longer nice-to-have. Here's why. You just give someone a reason to just think, oh, this guy may have a point here. You don't do this here. Here, I don't understand, to be honest. I would have no idea what you do. But what you're trying, the biggest, like you said, the biggest obstacle, even in January, let alone now, although you have a stronger proposition now, it was that, it's a nice to have. Well, mate, it's not. Because if you're losing people, if you don't know your people are disengaged, you're losing people left, right, and center, you're not going to hit your targets. But the problem is not how you're going to hit your targets and how I'm going to help you, is that I need to change your perception about my solution. And my solution now is a must-have. Let me tell you why. So the call to action at the end would have been like, just hear me out. Why is it a must-have? I believe that this would be probably your best. Well, if I was managing you, I would say try it. The next 50 emails that you will send to these team leaders or sales CROs or whatever, let's play around with that, right? And trying to make the case about your solution being a must-have today. And see how people respond to that.
Harry, it's something that I feel quite strongly about, because I do have this problem every day, right? I'm working, thousands of miles away from my US team, and it is a struggle for me to motivate them. And you have a solution that can really help that. I actually truly believe that. I'm almost, this might be 2 in a row, guys, but I'm actually quite curious to take a look into Sales Screen myself. But it's about how you articulate that. And as you said at the beginning, I believe that we have the best product in the world. If you remove that and you say, how do I articulate the problem that this best product that we have in the world solves for the Alexes, the Costases, and the Kates of the world, then you'll see eye to eye with your prospects a lot more. And you'll do the job that SDRs have to do more effectively, which is to get someone from being busy to being curious. right? And then you got to get them from being curious to being interested. If you can go through those steps, I'm a sales leader that's just really, really busy, and then someone hits me up with something that resonates with my problem. I'm very curious, and it's then your job to get me from being curious to interested, which is when I take the demo. If you can take them through those steps very simply, I think you'll have a lot of success. I think you guys are definitely on something as a company. You clearly are, because you're obviously doing very well. Just dial into those problems and articulate them as best as possible. It's very, very easy for people to talk about the benefits and all the great stuff, but people buy and they're motivated more by that loss aversion. Right? And if you dial into that more than anything, I think you'll have a lot of success. Okay,
also,
look.
So can I make one last point? Is that as a leader, I want to be seen as someone who is all fun and games and hit target, right? So it's a very, very obvious reason why I should look into that. No one wants to be seen as the guy that cracks. Well, some people don't mind that, but most people don't want to be seen as the people that crack the whip all the time. So if that makes me, makes my team change the perception of me or whatever, absolutely. New people that just took over a department, these are the guys that they want to establish a, to imprint their authority on that department. How are they going to operate? All these people, these are kind of triggers that you can actually use. People you to do a great job.
Yeah.
But hopefully that was helpful, Harry.
It was great. I mean, just to go in a deep dive with Kate, asking me those questions has really opened my eyes to those real problems. And then obviously Costas is, showing how imperative it is right now. And yeah, Alex's feedback, and yeah, it's been awesome. It's gonna change my
and everything. Yeah.
it's gonna probably change my all of my sequences right now. So thanks for that work, guys. I really appreciate that.
Not at all, Harry. Look, it's been a pleasure to have you. And sadly, we are up for time. I'm sure we could all do this for hours. Harry, did you get what you wanted today?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to nominate someone else to come on to 5 on Friday with us?
Well, I've watched a lot of Jack at Sales Loft on his webinar, so maybe he'll be up for coming on here.
Oh, Jack. Nice. Right, we're coming after you, Jack. Brilliant. Well, thanks for nominating that, Jack. Harry, it's been a pleasure. Costas and Kate, thanks a lot. Nice to see you both again, guys. And look, this has been another episode of 5 on Friday. We'll catch you all next week.